Hello, people, and welcome to another episode of this show called Mohr About, because of my name. In this episode, I'll have a little rant about Trump, as it's starting to be a theme, but believe me, I still prefer him over other people there. But he's doing some things that are not like anything he promised. So this episode will start with me ranting about his current business-oriented plans, and then I'll rant about AI in the last part of the episode. So stay tuned in for that. So this week, Trump administration had said a lot of things about investing in Intel, about getting a stake in Intel. As you know, Intel used to be... I have to show it on the screen because it's so funny what happened to Intel. Where is it? I have to put it on the screen. I do have the website open, but on the wrong screen. Okay. Let's move here. And this is Intel's market cap, as you see, from the late 90s until nowadays. It's so funny. It used to be $500 billion before the dot-com bubble burst. You see that height over there, around this line, $500 million, which is for back then it was a lot. Then it crashed with the dot-com bubble, and then it went up and down and up and down. It was usually around a few over $100 billion, and now, well, it's back under $100 billion. Let's see what it is now. Oh, exactly 100 billion. Still nothing compared to what it used to be. And mostly, despite the yearly upward tickle, it's still in very, very deep trouble. Most days it's going down, and this seems to be like a long-term trend with Intel, because it failed in every single part of modern tech. It failed at moving its manufacturing processes to in processes. The Mohr's law, which was an Intel employee, funnily enough, was that the number of transistors they can fit into a defined size of a silicon piece grows, I think, 200% every 18 months or so. So 2 times the transistors every year and a half. That law was practically working with a few deviations from the 50s until the previous decade. And then it slowed down, and Intel changed it to it's not about the number of transistors, it's about the performance per wattage, and that continued to rise in about the speed that Mohr predicted. And then that stopped being true as well. It barely rose anywhere, and the chips we have in the last few generations, in lieu of adding AI everywhere, their performance is not much better than it was 5 years ago or 4 years ago. It's a bit better. It's every year like 10%, maybe. Yeah, sometimes 20, as they claim, because they continue to make software that will be more tuned to the processors. Instead of making the processors faster, they're making the software they used to benchmark their hardware more tuned to the specific hardware. But if you use general purpose software like they use with AMD every time they compare, that does not give Intel much of an advancement at all, or any advantage, because their manufacturing processes lack years behind anyone else's. Samsung, TSMC, who else manufactures their own chips? I don't remember, but those two are enough. Like TSMC and Samsung are the two biggest manufacturers of chips right now. Intel is way below them. As Trump says, not even close. No, I'm not a good Trump impersonator. Anyway, so Intel is a very big company. It's an American company. It's very important for the US because it has, it doesn't want Samsung and TSMC, both of which are Southeast Asian, to take over. The Americans need Intel to stay competitive in the chip industry. So the Trump administration is talking and weighing different options of the government being involved in Intel. One of them was under Biden's administration, Intel got a big grant. I think it was $5 billion, $6 billion. The overall grants were $52 billion during the Biden administration. I think Intel got, I should have prepared for this. I don't remember the numbers, but it got several $1 billion of CHIPS Act funding from the Biden administration as a promise. The Biden administration had no idea how to implement the Act grants, the CHIPS Act grants. It's very confusing. So the money was delayed over and over again, and they failed at building the factories they promised to start building. So, that's not just Intel. Samsung is in the same spot as well. I think Micron, the memory chip company from Micron, is, I think, Taiwanese, probably. They're at the same spot, and there was another company that I can't think of right now. And TSMC, I think, under the previous Trump administration, promised to have factories in the US. And then when Trump came to office again and started talking about bringing manufacturing to America again, Lisa Su, the CEO of AMD, predicted that chips made in the US by TSMC would cost double-digit of percentage more than the ones made in Taiwan. So you have to give them money to make the chips in Taiwan. So you're losing money for them to bring manufacturing to the US. And then you lose again because devices will become more pricey, more expensive. This is a double lose for the American consumer. Maybe in the long run, in 50 years, it will be good for the next generation. But for this generation, it's a disaster. But the Trump administration doesn't stop trying. So now they're, again, talking about taking equity, I think Lotnick called it, in Intel, and maybe even other companies getting CHIPS Act grants, because the logic is this. The government is giving these companies money, right? So why can't it be a factor in these companies' decisions to make sure they're beneficial to the goals of the CHIPS Act, which on paper sounds so good and benevolent and why not? Why not? Well, I'll tell you why not. Because once a government gets involved in the decisions of companies, it's neither a democracy or free markets, both of which Trump promised. He promise to have a real democracy with, freedom of speech and everything, and then free market trade. This is none of those. Governments taking power over companies' decisions is exactly how fascism started. And if you didn't watch my last week's episode, go watch it, because as boring as it sounds to compare fascism to what's happening in the US, not boring, but Americans tend to think it can't happen here, right? I mean, we're so much better than those stupid Italians of the 1920s and 30s. But that's probably what they thought too about other countries, and it happened to them. And now Trump is starting to talk about the same things they did there. And it's a very dangerous. As I know people hate the word slippery slope because it's been overused, but this is a slippery slope. Once a government has any power of a private company's decision, it's no longer a private company. There is a reason that in democratic countries we make a distinction between the government sector, the private sector, and the third sector, which is NPOs and all these non-profits, which usually are for profits, but let's leave that for another time. And those three segments complete each other. Once the government is involved in the private sector, there is no more three sectors. It's just one sector or two. If assuming they don't do the same for non-profits, which they are trying to do by threatening non-profits to hold grants, because the US is a very big money source for NGOs, even under Trump. I mean, this isn't under Trump, but this week I wrote about an organization called CARE, which is a non-profit that focuses on benefiting women around the world, but not only women. It's not just women centralized. And they got $50 million from the US government last year. And I don't think it stopped, but we'll have to wait until they release this year's reports, I think next month, to see if that's true. But I'm guessing they will still get millions under Trump, because Doge didn't stop every grant to non-profits. They still have so many non-profits getting money from the US government that it's stupid. And if they stop getting that money, or stop getting that money without qualifying for certain conditions, that's a government takeover of a sector that should be non-government. It's called NGO. And it's undemocratic. I mean, you think your money should be well spent. Spending it on taking over another sector is not a good way of spending your money. You should be deciding on your own what to spend it on a state-to-state basis, even on a county-to-county basis. The federal government is just there for keeping the country safe. It shouldn't send money to people handing out food in Gaza in CARE's example, or fighting. I'll sound so emotionless saying those things, but the US government doesn't have a job to stop female mutilation in Ethiopia, for example, which is another thing CARE, which gets money from the US, is doing. Was it Ethiopia? Or maybe Eritrea? One of those East African countries. More than one. No, it wasn't Ethiopia. It was... I don't have the report in front of me, but they do all those things that you shouldn't... If you care about you as a private citizen should donate towards. And they do accept donations, that organizations and all the other NGOs. They do ads. They have that organization had an ad campaign on the ticket ordering website of AMC theaters. So they do spend some money on advertising, clearly. So everyone can donate if they believe in those causes, but it's not the job of the US government to interfere with other countries' inner social standards, as painful as horrifying as they may be. That's the work of private people, not an external government. So this is about that, and let's rant a bit about AI, because I have a big rant today about AI. Last week, and this is why I had the company's market cap website open, so let's go back to that. Last week, we saw, this week, I should say, during the last 5 sessions in the US stock market, we saw AI adjacent stocks falling. You can see Nvidia has, you see the 30-day price trend, and you see the last few days being a drop. Microsoft dropped. Apple, it's not exactly AI, but because of AI, I think they dropped. Alphabet, the same. Meta, the same. They are reorganizing the AI division for the 6th time in less than a year, I think now. It's absolutely, it's so funny to seeing the companies that we think about as unbeatable and they control the world. They can't even control their own build. I mean, they keep resizing, restructuring, redoing everything, rebranding everything. What else? Broadcom is a chip company. It's not exactly an AI company, but TSMC is a company making AI chips for companies. So they dropped a lot. Tesla is not an AI company per se. Walmart is not. Oracle, Larry Ellison, the CEO, he's no longer the CEO. He's the president. No, he's also not the president. He's the founder of Oracle. I think the CEO is Safra Katz. He is all in on AI and claiming Oracle within a few years will have very little employees. I'll get to that in a bit, not about Oracle, but I have things to say about that. So his company dropped with the AI trend. Netflix is not falling because of AI, I think. Costco also has nothing to do with AI. Palantir has AI connections. They're invested in AI. They're AI adjacent. They use AI for their military defense tech. So they fell as well. A few banks, I don't know if it's because of AI or something else that happened at the same time. Louis Vuitton has nothing to do with AI, I think. AMD, again, an AI adjacent company that designs AI chips. TSMC makes AMD chips. AMD is a fabless chip company. They don't have their own plantation, their own manufacturing department. They only design the chip and order the manufacturing from TSMC. So these are the big 40, and in the 40 to 50 places there are no companies that I can clearly say are AI centric. So you see all these stocks tumbling suddenly after several years of a very, very strong upward trend from 2022 when OpenAI revealed ChatGPT and until the last few weeks. Why is that happening? Well, one explanation is this article. I'll have links in the description for these articles. Sam Altman about 2 weeks ago launched ChatGPT 5 after we had a year and a half of versions 4 for O, for I, for S, for I don't know what, 4.5. No, that was 3.5, I think. But we had several, like the previous versions were all around the place. There's no logic to what's called 4, what's called 3, what's called 3.5. No logic at all. They claimed that the 4 to 4.0 upgrade was bigger than the 3.5 to 4. So why isn't it 5? And now they're calling another model 5. And most people complained that 5 was less good than 4. So they brought back 4. And that suddenly turned things around, because suddenly people realized what I've been saying for the last 2 years, since 2 years ago, more than 2 years ago, I was hired to start a pilot project in Israel's biggest newspaper to write articles with AI. The point was to use AI to have more content for our readers. And the more I used AI, the more I realized without a human editor, those articles are worth nothing. They are full of invented misfacts, or whatever you call them, fake news practically. And every few months, a company goes out and says, oh, we upgraded our models to have less hallucinations. And every time I check them, I see all they did was make the hallucinations seem more plausible. It's just becoming harder to distinguish between the fake and the truth and the fake. But anyway, because of this ChatGPT 5 launch brouhaha, Sam Altman was in a dinner with investors, and he said, and I'm quoting here, if you look at most of the bubbles in history, let's put a mark on what I'm reading. If you look at most of the bubbles in history, like the tech bubble, there was a real thing. So a real innovation, a real, something valuable there. Tech was really important. The internet was a really big deal. People got overexcited. So that's the problem. It's not that the tech bubble wasn't that the tech was fake. It was just overhyped, which we're seeing today. Are we in a phase where investors as a whole are overexcited about AI? My opinion is yes. So the CEO of a company that he claims is worth over $1 trillion, which they do not, is outright admitting they are overhyped and because of that, overpriced. How much they're worth, they're a private company, so we don't know. But too much. I keep reading his quote. Is AI the most important thing to happen in a very long time? My opinion is also yes. So Altman-Fried. Sorry, that was the Bankman-Fried was the crypto scammer. So Altman says AI is a thing, but not the thing some of us are making it to be. It's not like revolutionize the whole world. It's not that far. Okay. For some reason, I thought my microphone was muted. And then we see other evidence that AI is not what we were told. So let's see this. No. There was a story about that's the thing. Gen AI FOMO has spurred businesses to light nearly $40 billion on fire. So this report is about from an MIT lab, and they're talking about how companies have invested in the US alone, how companies have invested $40 billion in what's the word? Initiatives. In initiatives to bring AI into their work schedule and workflow. And so far, the financial benefits from that were practically zero. I mean, it's not zero. You see some companies making money off of it. There was one company. I didn't prepare that part, but one company did fire a lot of people and have an upward tick in revenue. Oracle did that too. Oracle, Larry Ellison's company, fired, I think, was it hundreds of thousands of people, and they did in their last financial report, they showed a very serious uptick in revenue and profits. So AI does work to some extent, but then you have the other side. Where was it? I had it here. Okay. Perplexity's Comet browser naively processed pages with evil. No, that's the next. The other what I was talking about was this one. Bank reverses decision to replace 45 customer service staff with AI chatbots. So these articles on the Register and Ars Technica, which I'll have linked below, talk about an Australian bank that fired 45 people from its customer support call center, claiming that they were, where's the wording? I think it was redundant, the word they used. Problem is I don't mark the articles I show you on the show, so I tend to start scrolling up and down looking for the part I wanted to read. There was a word they used. Okay, never mind. The word you probably can. Oh, I didn't. Oops. Sorry. Yeah, you can read the articles while I'm talking about it. I'll have it slowly scroll to the through the article. You can also click the link below to read it. What happened is the bank announced that they were replacing 45 workers with AI because the AI was better at answering calls, and they had a drop in call numbers anyway, so they don't need as many humans to answer the calls. And now the workers' organization has revealed that the company had to offer those employees who were fired the chance to re-employ themselves at the same job, because once they were without those employees, they noticed the call center was being overwhelmed because there were more calls coming in, and the AI was unable to handle most of them. So they needed humans for the AI to transfer the call to once it figures out it has no idea how to deal with it. And now they're offering the entire 45 re-employment. So what did we gain here? And I can say there was another company. I don't remember its name. It's I don't remember the company's name. They fired. It was a CEO. He did this. He sent this memo about employees have to use AI. Employees revolted. He fired everyone and said, "Okay, AI will replace you." But if you read the stories about that company that evil human being didn't fire his employees to replace them with AI. No, he replaced them with a similar number of employees who agreed to use AI in their workflow. So what did we gain here? You went from paying 100 employees that didn't use AI to 100 employees that do use AI. Is it helpful? I guess the company will see in the coming quarters. But AI is absolutely not what it was pegged for. And for the ending of this show, I have this little video from Amazon Web Services CEO. His name is Matt Garman. And he was interviewed by this guy, Matthew Berman. And despite all the PR talk and I mean, when an executive at a company is being interviewed, you have to assume at least 75% of what he's saying is worded to the dot by PR agencies. So he may not mean a thing he's saying here. But he did say it, and he is a very important guy. Amazon is one of the largest companies on earth. As you can see in this website, they are number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 5th place, worth $2.4 almost trillion. They're a very big company. They're a very central company. They're one of the biggest employers in the entire universe. They have one of the only 3 companies, I think, that have over 1 million employees. This is not a small company. Even if you don't use their website, they are very important. And this is what he said in that interview about relating to questions about juniors being replaced with AI.
Was the group a leadership group, and people were telling me, they're like, we think that with AI we can replace all of our junior people in our company. I was like, that's one of the dumbest things I've ever heard. They're probably the least expensive employees you have. They're the most leaned into your AI tools. And how's that going to work when you go 10 years in the future and you have no one that is built up or learned anything? So it's, my view is you absolutely want to keep hiring kids out of college and teaching them the right ways to go build software and decompose problems and think about it, just as much as you ever have. And so,
yeah, I think this is the important part. And he repeats those points alongside the interview. I watched almost the entirety of it. If you're interested in AI and in the future of jobs, which we all should be because our future depends on it, I recommend trying to watch it. I'll again have the link down below. Oh, and on YouTube I'll have it up there. Yeah, as a card. Anyway, AI is not what they promised us, not even close. It can help you do your job, but only if you assume it can make errors. If you trust the AI 100%, you're going to lose your job, not because the AI is better than you, but because you just can't do your job well with AI. And that's what I have for you today. You'll see me next week.